So what's it like to buy your first cryptocurrency on Kraken? Well, let's say I'm at a food truck I've never tried before. Am I gonna go all in on the loaded taco? No, sir. I'm keeping it simple, starting small. That's trading on Kraken. Pick from over 190 assets and start with the $10 in your pocket. Easy. Go to kraken.com and see what crypto can be. Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss. Cryptocurrency services are provided to U.S. and U.S. territory customers by Payward Interactive Inc., PWI, DBA Kraken. View PWI's disclosures at kraken.com/legal/disclosures.
Claire loves flair. Tom's into bootcut. Ava likes denim on denim. And Sarah is all about a crop jean jacket. Whatever your denim look is, Walmart's got you covered. Find the things you love at Walmart.
Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I've got a special guest for you today coming out of New Jersey, Michael Fleischner. He is the president and founder of Bigfin SEO, and he's an internet marketing expert with over 20 years. And he's going to talk to us all about how to apply internet marketing in your business practice, whether it be healthcare, it could be law, dentistry, talking about online reputation management, SEO. He's an author. He's been on some of the major platform networks, and I'm really happy to have him on. So, Michael, welcome.
Thank you so much, Christopher. So glad to be here.
Yeah, you actually have a lot. You've appeared on Today, ABC, Bloomberg, and so talk about, briefly introduce yourself, and we'll dive right into the questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So happy to be here and share what I know. And really, I try to be of service, especially in the medical community, for a variety of reasons. But my agency does a lot of work with medical professionals and other professional service providers with the goal of helping them look good online. And, one of the reasons I'm even in this business is I was on the corporate side for many years. And I just was not happy with either the results or the experience level of people I was working with inside different agencies. And I think we all know, especially those who have their own practices or multiple practices, part of the challenge is just figuring out where to spend the dollars to get the highest return. And, unfortunately, when people don't know what's working, they throw money at the wall and they hope things work. And that's just a bad strategy. So, I enjoy really working with medical professionals in particular on their local optimization strategy, because although some of your listeners, I'm sure, are the best in the world at what they do and people seek them out and fly to them, a lot of practices make a living based on those who are going to drive to the actual practice for services. So that's a little bit of my background and really what I hope to achieve in working with medical practitioners.
Yeah. And I love this idea of ROI and biggest bang for your buck, because, a lot of, these high achieving, highly driven professionals, and they don't want to waste their time. And so when you talk about your biggest ROI, is it going on TV, radio, news? Is it a blog? Is it social media, YouTube, Instagram? What is it?
I know it's a lot, right? You kind of have to be all places at all times. Honestly, and I kind of want to make people wait until the end of the podcast for my one really good tip, but I will share it here. And that is what we see working now is a program that's actually not new to Google. It's been around a while, but Google has really invested in this program that I'm going to talk about in a moment. And in the last year and a half, maybe the last year, they've really expanded it to include more service professionals. So where it used to only cover, I think, about 8 or 9 categories, now it's over 100 categories, and many of them are in the medical field. So what is that product? It's something called Google Local Service Ads. It also goes by another name called Google Guarantee. And we have a lot of clients, some spending 6 figures a month on Google Ads. And Google Ads are still great. We definitely want to encourage people to run Google Ads so that when people are searching for specific terms, they show up. But, mobile has really changed the game. And it's changed the game in the sense that most people are doing searches on their mobile devices today. Fewer and fewer are searching for service providers on a desktop. And as a result, the search engine results have been evolving for quite some time. And now, too, I know when most people are searching, their AI driven results as well, right? So, like, it continues to evolve. But this product called Google Local Service Ads is basically a program where if you qualify and you have to go through an application process and it can be a little overwhelming. And obviously we've done it for probably close to 1,000 clients. So like we have it like zeroed in and buttoned up and we know how to get through that approval process. But once you are approved, what's really unique is that you get what I'll call a badge next to your listing out on Google, and you show up for all of those key searches like chiropractor near me, doctor near me, acupuncturist near me, all of those terms that people want to show up for, even in really, really competitive categories like dentist near me or dermatologist near me. And what's even better is not only are you showing up first or second for those search terms, depending on the competitiveness, you no longer have to pay per click and you no longer have to pay for SEO. Although my agency does SEO also, it's not, if we're looking at where to get this biggest bang for the buck, the reason why Google Local Service Ads makes sense is because it is a pay per lead service. So you are only paying when the phone actually rings. And when you articulate and develop the ads in the right way, you can focus on new patients, you can focus on a specific geography. You can drive the new patient quotas that you're trying to hit simply with this one tool. Now, of course, as a marketer, like you were saying earlier, you need to be in a lot of places doing a lot of different things. But if you want to take that, 20/80, where you're going to spend 20% of your budget and generate 80% of the return, we love Google Local Service Ads because not a lot of people know about it. The people who do know about it, it's really difficult to get approved for the program. But once you're in that program, we have seen some incredible results.
Interesting. And so for the audience, obviously your firm helps clients, set it up and really be successful in there. So the other question I have for you is, you talked about SEO and you're the founder of Bigfin SEO, and what made you is the question I have for you is because with video and everything, is SEO, the question is SEO's relevant or is it kind of losing market share? What changes do you think are most significant today?
Yeah, I think it really, first of all, SEO is not dead. It's still important. It's still around. It's still highly effective, especially in the medical niche, because at least a lot of the doctors that we work with, although they may be experts in their field, they don't always showcase that in a meaningful way that pulls people into the practice. So we like to use SEO to optimize video, to optimize content that's specific to that practice or that doctor, so that we can really create a much wider net out there in Google search results. Now, typically when you do a search result, you're going to see some AI-driven results at the top of the page. And much of that comes from SEO optimized content. So if you're not optimizing your content on your website, on your blog, and your social media accounts, you're not going to be at the very top of the page. So your next option is to pay using pay per click, right? Google Ads. And then after that, you're typically going to see your local search result. We call that the map pack because it's Google Maps. So we want to make sure that GBP, Google Business Profile, is fully optimized. And that means not just setting it up, but it means publishing content to it regularly, updating photos, changing hours for holidays, actively managing that listing. and then you will see some organic listings.
Hmm.
However, when someone is doing a specific search for a doctor, typically you're going to see what we call cards show up in search results. And you may see this like if you're just going to search a friend or someone famous. And those cards are really being created from content that's on their website as well as their social media profiles. So I know earlier before we jumped on, we were talking a little bit about social media and the impact of social media. And it is important to have someone managing that. And whether you're doing that internally with your own staff, whether you're doing that personally, or you're using a third party like an agency, it really is important to be consistent. And that's the advice that we give to a lot of medical professionals who say, I'm busy, I'm on for 3 days, I'm off for 4. I really don't have the time when I'm working to do X, Y, and Z. And we say, you know what, find a schedule that works for you and just stay consistent, whether that's once a week, twice a week, once a day, once an hour, doesn't really matter. It's training the algorithm to say, hey, this person is an authority, they have relevant content, and it is updated on a consistent basis.
Mm. Yeah. Because you answered that was kind of my follow-up question, because they don't have the time, which you recommend to reach out to, have professional expertise. The other question I have for you is with the onslaught of AI that's coming, what changes or how will you see SEO evolve with AI?
Yeah, it's a really good question because I think this thought continues this idea of AI and the thought of, how will it impact organic results continues to evolve each and every day. One thing that we do know is that Google is really looking at a couple of key indicators in order to use the data to create those AI-driven results. Things like, the authority of the content. So if you're a medical professional who had a paper published, you are in Google's eyes, you're going to be seen more favorably than someone maybe who's just out of medical school, just started a practice. Really, you don't have the history there. So that's one. The other thing which continues to remain really important are online links because in essence, they serve as references. So if there are a lot of people linking to your social media accounts, LinkedIn profile, your website, your, whatever it happens to be, your published papers, those links are essentially votes to say this person is an authority in this particular area. So one thing that people can do is just be mindful that anytime that they're presenting, giving a presentation, having an article published, is to always link back to your assets, whether that's your own website, whether that's something related to the practice, or even your LinkedIn profile. Because as those links start to point to your assets, those assets are going to show up more frequently in search results. It's going to build your authority. And ultimately, that's going to create the persona that you want so that people are seeking you out and you're not in this position where you have to really market the practice really hard to get new patients.
Mm, interesting. Yeah, I think AI is gonna, play a role. The other question about SEO that I commonly get is how does SEO apply if, for example, if a lot of professionals they're taking the YouTube or if they're going to podcasts, how will SEO play in these types of platforms?
Well, let me just say, I love YouTube as an SEO strategy. So YouTube is owned by Google. Not everybody knows that. So as a result, when you do searches, if you see video results, you're probably not going to see Vimeo, which I know we've got a lot of doctors using, and you're not going to really see other platforms of video show in organic search results. You'll see a YouTube video though. So one of the things that we have to think about is if we look at YouTube videos as an asset, how can we get that asset to show up more frequently and for more searches? So we know, we believe, based on experience in the industry and not having the actual recipe, right? We don't know what the Google algorithm actually is. And if somebody says they do, they're, that's just not possible, right? Coca-Cola is not sharing their secret with the world. So,
Yeah.
um, but we know that the videos themselves are being indexed and the audio in the videos are being indexed. So anytime someone's going to publish something on YouTube, they should really take, I mean, maybe 15 minutes to do it right. Make sure that your keywords are in there. So if you're a cardiologist, you're talking about heart health, you're talking about all these words that people would look at, how to prevent a heart attack or stents or whatever, and you want to use that terminology in your videos, but then you want a pretty lengthy uh, description of that video, embedding those keywords as well. And I'm oversimplifying because there are link building strategies and there are other things that you can do, but you definitely want to leverage everything you can on that platform in particular, because the algorithm right now through AI and natural language programming is showing those videos in search results today. That may change in the future, but leveraging video, leveraging images, even, a lot of our doctors say, well, not everything in the office is appropriate, either because of HIPAA or because of the sensitivity of it, to take a picture of and show. But most people don't want to look at that stuff. They don't want to look at you excising something. They want you to show what the day in the life of a doctor is like, or what the nursing staff is doing, or whatever the case might be, right? So there's always a way to create video, in my opinion, that not only plays to your audience, but also serves a ranking opportunity in organic search results.
Claire loves flair. Tom's into bootcut. Ava likes denim on denim. And Sarah is all about a crop jean jacket. Whatever your denim look is, Walmart's got you covered. Find the things you love at Walmart.
This episode is brought to you by Jira. Jira is the only project management tool you need to plan and track work across any team. So if you're a team of developers, Jira better connects you with teams like marketing and design, so you have all the information you need in one place. Plus, their AI helps you knock out the small stuff so you can focus on delivering your best work. Get started on your next big idea today in Jira.
Yeah. How about podcasting? Is that more of just kind of like, is that, because I've heard like podcasting, that's more like you have to, like a bottoms up, you have to like create an email list and kind of distribute it, go on social media and kind of drive traffic to their, because it's, I guess podcasting is still new. So kind of the SEO search, algorithms around podcasting is a little bit different or still nascent. Is that true or?
So podcasting itself, so a recording of a particular episode, typically will not show up in search results. Typically. Now, some do, depending on the authority of the podcast, some of the references, some of the links pointing to the podcast, so on and so forth. So my recommendation with podcasting is always twofold. One is, not only should you do these shows, but you should link to the show so that someone who does discover you is going to see that link, but also have the show linked to you. So whether it's the show notes or the episode itself, there are ways to drive links either to your individual profiles or, and it could be specific, like linking to your profile on ZocDoc, whatever it happens to be. And then in addition to that, you do want to make sure that those show notes aren't just linking to you, but they're descriptive of the type of practice that you have, the type of medical services you deliver, so that there's some context for the AI to say, oh, this kind of reinforces the persona of this particular individual. And therefore, when someone is searching for something related to it, we can serve this individual up as a potential search result. So I think any opportunity to capture what you're doing digitally, create that asset, whether it's a podcast recording, whether it's a listing on iTunes of the podcast itself or Spotify or whatever the case might be. Those are all fantastic. We just want to make sure that we're structuring those things and making the ask of the host so that we can get the most benefit. And oftentimes that comes down to contextualizing what you're doing there in relation to your area of expertise and creating links that can be pointed again to your website or to some of the other assets, digital assets that you own.
I love that. We have around 2 or 3 minutes left, and so just because I know a lot of doctors, they get in trouble sometimes with online reputation management. So that's also a major part of your expertise. And what are some key mistakes businesses make when managing their online reputation, and how can people reach you and search you and work with you?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest mistake that people make with online reputation is that they are not proactively managing it. And unfortunately, we often get the call when, unfortunately, someone is right in the middle of a lawsuit. There are things being published they don't want out there. And it's fixable, but it's much more difficult to fix than if someone's being proactive. So everyone in the medical sphere, especially if you have a medical practice, should be thinking proactively about these assets that we talked about, having at least 10 of them: websites, blogs, LinkedIn accounts, social media accounts, articles published, blogs, podcasts, YouTube videos, creating 10 of those and working to optimize each of those assets, because then you're basically creating a defensive strategy. So when negative things happen, they can't make it onto the first page, or if they do, these other assets are so authoritative, it pushes it off the front page.
Oh, wow.
So that's my recommendation. Be proactive, play offense, or else you're going to be playing defense for most of the game, and that doesn't really end up too well. So if people are interested in learning more, definitely go ahead and Google me, Michael Fleischner. I'm sure you'll see some results there. Our agency, Bigfin SEO, works pretty exclusively with medical professionals, so we really understand the industry and some of the nuances. And we're here to help. Even if you just want some unsolicited advice, definitely reach out. We'll be more than happy to share what we know and see if we can help you.
Yeah, I really love that. And like I said, these medical professionals, they don't have a lot of time, so it's always good to partner with a reputable firm to help you in this area. And a really fantastic conversation. And thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks so much, Christopher. My pleasure.